everyone, welcome to our bonus episode about predictions. We, every year, like to do predictions about what's going to happen in Coronation Street, and we also like to review what we thought about the previous year. So, Michael, you're dying to speak. Hello.
No, hello. Yeah, I'm here as well. I'm Michael.
I'm Gemma.
Yeah, we're going to talk about 2023 in today's episode, and definitely, absolutely, what's going to happen this year. Possibly not. I've been doing the best as I can to avoid any kind of spoilery bits of information that's been appearing in the press over the past couple of weeks. I know that some bits have got out there in McLeod's speaking. I've seen a few little bits, so I got a few little hints, but not much. But I've not read anything in detail, but just, a few headlines have caught my eye, and I've tried to avoid them in my predictions. And this is always fun because, I sat down yesterday morning to make my predictions with not a single idea, but an hour or so later, it's I got a quite complete narrative of what's going to be happening over the next 12 months.
Oh, really? Okay.
Well, maybe it's not quite like
I definitely
that,
had that where I was
pretty pleased with it.
It feels like sometimes where you sit down and you think, and you come up with a load of sporadic kind of ideas, but then you kind of pull on a thread, and then it feels like you've kind of uncovered a whole jumper.
Yeah, I've got a few bits like this, but yeah, let's not get ahead of ourselves, because like you said, we do want to go back and have a look at our predictions for this past year. If you don't want to hear this, do by all means use the timestamps in the episode description to skip to the 2023 predictions. But yeah, looking back on 2022, I think we did quite well, actually.
Yeah.
We listened to this in the car. We always listen to our predictions in the car, don't we, for the previous years, just to see how well we did.
It's our tradition when we're driving up to see your dad over the Christmas holidays.
Yeah, that is our let's listen to the predictions for the year. And we haven't listened to them since a year, and it was quite pleasantly surprised, actually, even though, we weren't bang on the mark with all of them. But there was bits in there that you could say, that's not too far from the truth.
It would be suspicious if we were.
Can I go through mine first last year?
Yeah.
This is what I'm going to claim I got right in my 12 months ago predictions. I said that COVID-wise, we wouldn't see too many restrictions on screen, but I thought there'd still be a bit of a struggle behind the scenes. And I can't speak to what it was like behind the scenes, but absolutely, I think it wasn't particularly obvious on screen that COVID had happened. It felt like it was pretty much back to normal. I also thought that, the sets would be fuller by the end of the year. We'd see more people in the Rovers, Bistro, whatnot. And although we're not back to completely how it used to be in the olden days, I think I'm going to claim that one and say, yes, sets are fuller now. I also thought that Coronation Street, this is a fairly easy one, would end up being released early on the ITV hub for the World Cup in November. It was. But yes. I also thought that they'd just carry it on right through Christmas, which they didn't. We didn't realise that they weren't doing that until we sat down to watch them one week, and they hadn't been put up early on ITVX yet. But that's not too bad. So that's my kind of production sort of predictions that I got right. My storyline prediction, the one that I'm most pleased with this year, is Spider returns in 2022. And it's not like I predict that every year. Some years I think, this isn't the first time I've predicted it. I think it had been a few years since I'd put this on the old wheel of predictions. So I was so pleased when it was announced that Martin Hancock was returning to the street to play Spider, not just because I love the character, because I know that was one of my predictions. Now, I certainly didn't predict that he'd been an undercover cop. I thought he was going to come back because he was going to announce Emily's death. But I did say that he'd get back together with Toya. I didn't know back then that Imran would no longer be on the scene, of course. But I also said that he'd be working for the Man.
Yeah,
I'm going to count the police as the Man.
I think the police are the Man.
Yeah, I think they absolutely are.
They're a collection of men.
So I was correct about that one.
Good job.
But I said that by the end of the year he'd be gone and he'd be like a renewed hippie again, and he'd have realised, this isn't the life for me. So I wasn't completely right there. But Spider returning, I was dead chuffed about that one. We both kind of, at the beginning of last year, the question was, is Abby actually pregnant or not? And she told Imran that she's not, but I think both of us thought that she was. I said that she was, and I said that Abby would have her baby early. Maybe not as early as it actually happened. I thought it'd be more like Britain's Got Talent week earlier, and it was a couple of months before that. But early baby for Abby, yes, I'm taking that one. I thought that Maria would win the councillor election, correct. Although I also thought that she would resign because I was convinced that this was the year that Gary's crimes would be uncovered, and so Maria would have to resign from the council because that's all. Wasn't right about that one. I said Bernie and Deb are going to properly get back together. I said a quieter year for Asher and Nina, and I think I'm going to take that because we haven't seen so much of them, as a couple or just doing very much at all this past year, have we?
Yeah.
I said, and I'm kind of clutching at straws a bit with this one, I said that Hope would go to Weatherfield High and she would be expelled. Now, she did get suspended for a week when she went after her classmates with a hammer. Not exactly the same, but, I was right in a way, maybe. I said she got suspended for a week, didn't she? I said that she would be expelled. Yeah. It's not completely different. I thought that she'd be gone after setting fire to the school, but half right for that one. I predicted that Phil would do some shady council dealings related to the election. He did. He got some paperwork or something. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I'm going to claim that one as right. I said Mimi would come back. Yes, she did. I said that Fizz and Tyrone would get back together again. And I said that they'd be married by the end of 2022, and they 100% were. So I'm really chuffed with that one. Now, I did think that Alina would come back, and lots of people have been talking about that, haven't they? When's Alina going to pop back with this sprog of Tyrone's? I said it was going to be last year. I was wrong with that one. I also said that Alina would be killed and Tyrone and Fizz would end up having to take the baby on, so not right about that one. Very accurate prediction here, Gemma. Sarah and Adam will continue to be dull and nobody will care if they're a couple or not. I think we can all agree that they did continue to be dull. But to be fair, I think we went into this Lydia and Adam and Sarah storyline beforehand. People had kind of forgotten that they were even married. And I think people at least have remembered that. So there's a net positive for them, but still fairly dull. Also, I said that baby, that son or whatever that Lydia had, I said that it wouldn't be Adam's, and it wasn't. So, yeah, I'll have that one. You're just sad about all the predictions I got
I'm just
right here.
I'm just thinking about, what a missed opportunity.
I said Daisy and Daniel would make a go of it as a couple. Yes, that happened. I said that either Brian or Kathy would leave. And I was right. Brian or Kathy did leave.
Yes, and or Kathy.
I said that James would leave in 2022. And... extra point.
What do you get?
Nobody misses him.
Oh, what a bitch.
Absolutely right on that. And I'm going to say, I thought he'd go for a manager's job or something, not a trainee, not a football trainer for kids.
He's the manager of the trainers.
So anyway, right on James leaving. And I said that this would be the year that Dee Dee came back to the street. I keep saying came back, she was never there to begin with. This was the year that Dee Dee would come to the street. Thank you very much. I think I saw her as more of a high-powered businesswoman in the story rather than a lawyer, even though it had probably been mentioned that she was a lawyer beforehand. I don't know. I thought that, because I'd also predicted that Rosie Webster would come back to Coronation Street this year, and I said that Dee Dee and Rosie would kind of end up pairing up and doing some... they'd join in with Michael on his baby grow business, and Michael and Rosie would get together. I was completely wrong on
Michael
that count.
Still did get involved in a tedious business enterprise.
He did, that's very, very true. Remember Mariam?
Yeah. No.
Yeah, Zidane's wife. I said that she would dump him when the truth about her father's death came out.
Who remembers?
Yes, that happened. I remember that happened. Summer would develop an eating disorder. To be fair, some of these, it was fairly obvious that that's where it was going down. But yes, she did. I said romance for Stu and Yasmin. Yes. And I also said Leo didn't stick around.
Funny he stuck more closely to the railing.
Yeah, I didn't think I could ever have guessed about how he would not longer be sticking around,
hilarious.
but I'm still counting that as a point. So those are all my predictions that I got right for this year. What I was wrong about was, firstly, I thought that we would surely get Ian McLeod's exit announcement as producer of Coronation Street this year. I think you probably predicted that as well. Yeah, you did. You said
no, I didn't.
You said Christmas would be the end of Ian McLeod's reign. I said Britain Got Talent Week, actually. So I was wrong about that one. I also thought that in Britain's Got Talent Week, the theme of that would be Gary Windass finally getting his comeuppance. I said, well, Ian McLeod was the one that turned him into a villain, so as he's now leaving in 2022, he'd want to tie a bow in that one and have him finally have to answer to his crimes. Now, I said about Rosie coming back, I also thought that Gina Seddon would be back, and it'd be a really nice sort of Webstery reunion in 2022. They'd be there to help with Sally's election campaign. I thought that Rosie would work with Imran and probably fancy him for a little bit. And I said that Rosie would get together with Michael and get pregnant, and it'd be a scandal because she'd want to have an abortion, yet she was the face of this Baby Grow campaign. Nothing, obviously, along those lines happened. Sam gets bullied for being a nerd at his new school. No. Evelyn leaves. I'm glad I was wrong about this one. I thought that maybe Evelyn would have a horrible illness and leave. Not as like dying off, but I thought she'd go and swan off to travel the world with James as a kind of off into the sunset. I've still got a few years left in me, so I'm glad to be wrong about that one. I said that Jenny would have a baby, which would rekindle bad memories for Daisy about the part that she played in Tom's death. I'm still convinced that there's something going on there, but so far, nothing along those lines. I said that Brian would sell the cabin to Dev. Nope. I said that Izzy would come back to the street with limited appearances. No, I think we did see her face like once, but that was about it. I said that Alia and Ryan would get back together. No, they've been around each other, but that's not happened. And I also thought that this would be the year that David would return to, king of the street status.
You said David and Shona are back at the centre of a issues-based story, but they were. They're part of the racist story. I think you're wrong there. I think that they are.
So I'm wrong in that I was right. I don't know.
I'm gonna give you that.
You give me the point. Fine. I just thought it'd be, I thought it'd be their story. Them at the centre.
They're not the centre, but they're on the periphery.
Yeah. I said that Audrey would retire and give Trim Up North back to David. And also, I thought that Daniel would be in an overworked teacher storyline.
I think you were right there too, because he went doolally and then.
Not because of how hard teaching is, though. It's more because...
It was more like, these kids aren't all right.
I just can't help pushing them down the stairs.
They're just
I'd better
so obnoxious.
leave.
Yeah.
So I was really, really pleased with the amount I got right there. Some wrong, but I'm never going to get them all right. Now, Gemma, what about you? How did you do?
I thought that this was the year we'd learn our lesson, and we didn't we?
No, I remember last year...
My theme.
Because we listened to it a few weeks ago. Like I said, your theme was everybody learns a lesson, and I don't know whether we really did.
No, we'll never learn.
What about what actually happened did you get right?
Summer abuses her diabetes medication and spirals downhill into a mental health crisis and bombs her exams. She splits up with Ardy. I thought she'd be a counsellor at the end of it and help other people, but no, she's selfish.
I like how you mentioned about bombing out of her exams, because absolutely you were right on that one.
Ardy just carries on working at his dad's shop, even though he has these grand ideas about revenge. Abby got pregnant, keeps the baby, Troy and Imran split up.
Yes, you're correct.
But I also thought that Abby would lose custody. I thought Lydia would go, what?
No, I think that you thought that she would miscarry. You said she'd want to keep the baby, but she doesn't end up keeping the baby.
The baby so doesn't ever.
No, so you were wrong about that part of it.
I was wrong. Lydia goes full on stalker with Adam, but I also thought that he was the dad of her kid. Wrong. Aggie is accused of having an affair with Tim after they spent a lot of time being friends with each other.
She really, really did.
Stu reunites with his estranged family, got that right, but I thought he would die of consumption of the vapours. He's still fine. Does he get coughing? None of the teenagers go to university, or if they do, they study from home, so you can't tell anything's different.
So,
happened.
Amy did go to university, but you can't really tell, can you? She's still hanging around, which is good, because I like Amy.
I said Audrey is maudlin about being old and bums everyone out.
Yeah, and you said that she'd have a cataract operation, which was correct as well.
Benny and Dev move in together briefly, but it's a disaster. It sort of happened.
Well, they did get together at the beginning of the year, and that was a disaster because of the role that Bernie played in, the money, the reward money for Joseph's recovery. So they did split up them for a bit. Then they got back together at the beginning of the year. So I'm absolutely giving you a point for that one.
Craig continues to be intrigued by simple-minded crimes and arrests street residents for various things like Emma and Faye.
Yes.
David declines into being boring. because Coronation Street just insists on showing us conflict with Max with no hint of irony or self-awareness.
I wouldn't say that he's one of the most boring ones, but he's certainly not.
He's had a lull, hasn't he?
He's had a lull, and it is more about him being a dad rather than, his own character.
I thought Fizz and Tyrone would get back together, but I also thought that Fizz would sleep with Tyrone and get pregnant, and then we didn't know if it was Phil or Tyrone's baby. No.
But I'll give you the point for Fizz and Tyrone getting back together. You were right there.
Gary gets revealed as Rick's murderer, and Kelly forgives him because you get one free murder.
Yes, that bizarrely happened.
No Rana comeuppance, which I was right about.
No comeuppance with Rana.
Gail,
still don't know.
Gail does literally nothing for another year.
Yes.
Sam starts to speak.
Yes, well, he had his mutism story a year ago. We assumed he wasn't going to stay mute forever, so that was a nice, easy one for you.
Kathy leaves, but
you were right
I thought that would be part of a new producer cull.
Yeah.
Right, so the things I got wrong, I thought that Gemma would get concerned about Alice's development and get more engaged in the deaf community and trying to teach him to sign. Not really. Carla and Peter split up because they haven't got a proper storyline and they need something to do, so they get back together.
No, they just decide not to do very much in the whole year.
I thought Kathy and Brian would get married. I thought Billy would leave the Church of England and become a humanist and marry Paul or Todd. I didn't care which one. Nobody does. Daisy and Daniel would get married. Eileen and George would get married.
They did get engaged, didn't they, Daniel and Daisy? So maybe a half point for that one.
I'm just realising how similar these are to the ones I've got. Nina and Ashley get married. We meet Dr. Gallus and her wife on a night out, but she never becomes a proper character. Alina returns. New producer gives a cast cull, which includes Brian, Kirk, Beth, Gemma, Chesney, Quads, Paul, Joseph. Joseph is adorable. Everyone loves him, and he becomes part of the State Dobbs household and avoids the cull.
You didn't think that Joseph would get caught.
I thought that Audrey, Rita, or Ken would get killed off, and I thought that would happen at Christmas with a viaduct collapse when some of them get killed.
We did not have any of that, but you didn't do too badly. I think I got more this year, I'd have to say, but I think both of us we didn't do too badly.
It's not always about getting it all right.
Well, no.
And I say that because I got it wrong.
I think I'm generally quite bad at thinking, well, because this is going here, I got an accurate prediction of what's going to happen. It's more a case of, a lot of it is what I kind of hope to happen, and wouldn't this be interesting if this did happen? And then it's just kind of a nice convenience if those things actually do happen. And I think that's probably kind of the theme for my predictions for 2023. I don't know how many of these I genuinely think will happen, but I had fun putting them together. So do you want to hear what I've got in store for 2023? Okay, so hang on. The cat's just come in and decided to sit on my lap and she's walking all over the place. Right. Summer. Got to predict what's happening for Summer because I don't think we've seen the last of her yet. I'm going to say she's going to go through with the surrogacy, but Mike starts getting all kind of dark and leery about her. We've talked about the potential of this already, but I think rape Mike Summer is going to happen in 2023. Esther's going to leave Mike. We've already started to see the beginnings of the cracks between Esther and Mike, haven't we? So I think that's going to be the final straw. Off she goes. But Summer is going to lose the baby again. She'll probably collapse a few more times during the year because, she likes a good tumble, doesn't she? And I've written down, Billy is as much use as a chocolate heat pump. Which, just continuing the theme of 2022 there. Good old Aaron's there, though. He helps her pick up the pieces and everything. And I wouldn't be surprised if Aaron and Summer are drippily engaged by the end of the year. So I'm gonna stake my claim there in the old engagement front. Fortunately, though, I'm gonna say, oh my gosh, I hope I'm right. Most of the summer drama over by late spring. Because Harriet Bibby needs a bit of a rest, doesn't she?
Yeah.
I think this can't go on at this pace for the whole year. So I'm going to say maybe even, Britain's got some talent week time at the later.
Britain's got summer.
Britain's got summer, yeah. It does it act? Then we won't be seeing so much of summer in the second half of 2023. So that's my summer predictions. Now we know that Jenny McAlpine is going to be leaving Coronation Street for a little bit because of a maternity leave. So surely this is going to be And some of my predictions, like you, are renewed ones. The return of Alina. So I'm going to say she's going to come back. She's going to have Tyrone's baby. I think that they still want to keep Hope in the programme, though. So I reckon that rather than disappearing off to the other side of the planet, Fizz is just going to move, somewhere else in Weatherfield, and we'll still see Hope, continue to attend school, be friends with Sam and stuff. I don't think she's going to disappear when Jenny McAlpine does. What?
So Jenny, Fizz is moving.
Fizz is moving away from the street.
Why?
So that Jenny can have her baby.
I know.
She because
What's
Alina's
the
back.
reason?
Alina's come back. But yeah, Hope's still there in school and with Sam and everything. Now this is when we were watching last night's Coronation Street. I said, a load of my predictions are kind of been spoiled by this, and partly this is, but I'm still going to go with it anyway. Somehow, even though it doesn't appear that it's going that way at the moment, Daniel ends up teaching back at Weatherfield High again. So I'm going to say we will have. He's gonna start teaching his English. What's he going to be teaching? Little Women, of course.
Oh, good one.
So Hope, obviously an expert of Little Women at this point, because of the times that she's been listening to John Stapes' book studying tape or whatever.
Who's your favourite character? Is it Joe? Mine too. Yeah.
Anyway, so she's going to become this star pupil because she's an expert on this, and he's going to be like, Hope, you're amazing. You know all about Little Women. So that's going to lead to Hope having a little bit of a crush on Mr. Osborne at school.
I kind of like that.
Yeah. And I think that's probably not going to happen now. He's not got a job at Weatherfield High, but I'm saying it because I like the idea of it.
You can start You can start like a community book reading club.
Yeah, why not?
Why the hell not?
So this is made even more awkward when Fizz ends up forgiving Tyrone because she is going to go back with him, isn't she?
Doorknob.
But it doesn't matter. So she moves her and Hope back onto the street. So now they're living nearby to Daniel and Daisy. So that's a little bit awkward on her crush. Now Daniel, he has to tell Hope kind of gently that, this is just a bit of an infatuation. You're just 12 or however old she is. Sorry.
It's just the magic of literature.
Yeah, and then so she gets properly mad and firebombs number 1. She's going to put something through the letterbox at number 1. Finally, a chance to redecorate inside that house. God. Get rid of the Ken Barlow-ness from it. Maybe something for Stephen Tracy's taste. So redecorated number 1 because Hope's going to set it on fire because she's infatuated with Daniel and he's burned her. Nice one.
Do you know what I say?
What?
Bring back Albert Tatlock's original sideboard.
Okay, maybe they can get it out of storage. Stephen, right. I'm going up with we talked about this on the podcast lately, but I'm still going to have him scaling up the scaffolding at number 1 so he can go into Teddy's bedroom, give him a good old smother him with the pillow. I mean, any of this could happen in the next few days or be disproven in the next few days. But anyway, I'm going to say that's going to happen. Something that is just going to be, I don't know, or something that's kind of put down to a consequence of him being hit by a car.
Huh? Oh, what? So it looks like he died.
It looks like he died. So there's no suspicion with Stephen. However, he is caught in the act by desperate hanger-oner Elaine. Because she can't keep her eyes or hands or anything off of him.
Yeah.
Now, Stephen, he goes to Teddy's funeral because he kind of asked her to support Jenny, and we have one of those scenes where the murderer is there at the funeral, and it's
Brilliant.
I can't. What am I going to say anything? Elaine twigs there's something going on there. So Stephen has to then bump Elaine off too.
In the tradition of Coronation Street murderers going to their victims' funerals, he really should do a speech.
He's going to, speech at Teddy's funeral. I think you're right. So he's bumped off Elaine, and he's going to carry away in the roof box, because I don't think Teddy's going to fit in there. And now her disappearance is just put down to heartbreak about Stephen getting together with Jenny, which is the next kind of stage in this. He's going to move in on Mrs. Connor there. Elaine's going to... he's going to say, Elaine, she just couldn't cope with me being with Jenny now, so she took herself far away, and whatever. And then that's kind of it for there. He's gonna go back to normal a little bit more. He's going to get a bit of his bravado back, and he becomes, the de facto landlord of the Rovers Return. because I know he's working at the factory and everything at the moment, but Coronation Street's had quite a few dodgy bad guys at the factory, like Frank Foster and Tony Gordon and everything, and I don't think we've had a real proper baddie villain in charge of the Rovers, and I really like that idea. So he's working at the factory now. Daisy's not happy with this. She doesn't like Stephen one
Hang on,
jot.
he's working at the factory.
Sorry, Rovers. He's working at the Rovers now. Daisy's not happy with this, but Jenny doesn't want to hear it because she says, "Look, I partly blame you for what happened between me and Johnny and our split up. So don't you try and get between me and my lovely Stephen now." So just shut it, Daisy. And then Gabrielle comes back to the street. She's going to take Stephen's job at the factory. No. Power boss couple, Gabrielle and Carla at the factory. But when Carla gets filled in on some of the details about Stephen's naughtiness, Stephen tries to kill Carla, right? Stephen's going to go after Carla because she knows that he's been up to no good. He fails in his murder attempt on Carla and accidentally bumps off Faye at the factory. She's there. Is she working at the factory? Yeah, I think she is.
Stephen kills Faye by accident, trying to kill Carla.
Yes, that is what's going to happen. Absolutely.
Have you thought any about how that might happen?
Well, yeah, Faye works at the factory, doesn't she?
I know.
And I don't know. She kind of looks a little bit like Carla from behind. I didn't
her head or something.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. I don't need all the details. If I get it too right, people will just be suspicious that I've been sneaking around Coronation Street and looking at that storyboard. True. So poor Tim, he's distraught. His mum's disappeared.
Can't believe it.
She's dead. He doesn't know this at this point. Faye's been killed, so he's a terrible year. Elaine's body does get discovered though. No link to Stephen. He's able to cover up, but so he does know that his mum's dead, and that's going to be like a proper serious story time for Tim. I think he could actually do a really good job of a serious story. My mum's dead. My daughter's been killed off. Bit of a depression storyline maybe, which Steve could help him get through because hey, he had depression too. Do you remember that? And then that's all going to leave to Tim being the one to discover about Stephen's crimes. Dramatic car chase through Weatherfield. Tim's going to be there in the streetcar's cab. Stephen's going to be there in Audrey's car or whatever. Super Soap Week in October, I'm going to say this is going to happen. Tim corners him at the tip. In an ironic twist, he's going to end up being crushed or incinerated or having a load of rubbish dumped on him or something. A bin-related death.
Oh, nice.
Is what is, it's got to happen. It's poetic justice for the bin man of Weatherfield. Have we? Well, I'm glad that I went first then.
Well, if that happens, Tim has to say, I guess it's time to take out the trash or something.
Yes. Right. Back to Daisy. So she's not really happy, remember. She hasn't been happy with Jenny because she's been getting together with Stephen in the pub.
Yeah.
But she does get married to Daniel, and because of the fire that Hope caused in number 1, they had to leave number 1 and they move into a flat in the precinct. Right, first mention of the precinct. Had to do some predictions related to that this year. So she ends up quitting the Rovers because her and Jenny have really had this falling out over Stephen. Daisy's going to get a job in the Gregory Pope Foundation charity shop. Okay. Yeah, because I think she needs to learn a lesson about being a bit humble when it comes to fashion and second-hand clothes, and it's not all about the glitz and the glamour and the fancy slinky dresses or anything. So we maybe see a little bit of a less superficial side to Daisy as the year goes on, and maybe the viewers get a bit annoyed that she's lost her edge. Yeah. And I might actually also renew that Tom theory as well about her being involved in her brother's death when her dad turns up at the wedding.
Her dad turns up at the wedding.
Yeah. Right. Brian and Mary, obviously, they're going to get together for comedy, caperings and romance and stuff. I'm going to say she moves in with Brian, but carries on working at the florists. Yeah? Yeah. So, Brian realises that he needs a little bit of extra help at the cabin, especially with, I don't know whether Shona's going to be gone or whatever, but so he's going to take on Bernie at the cabin. Yeah. Mary is jealous. She thinks that Bernie and Brian may be having a bit of an affair or something. There's not going to be any reason to suspect that, but you know what Mary's like. So she eventually gets too jealous. She decides to oust Bernie from the cabin so that she can work there instead. Bernie's like, I don't care. Brian, I'm fed up with him anyway. He gets on my nerves. So Mary and Brian working at the cabin there. Todd then is going to go back to working at the florist with Tracy, because I think that reigniting that Todd and Tracy relationship could be quite good, because they used to work really well together in the factory. I know it was the different Todd, but never mind. And Glenda then is going to end up taking Todd's place at the underworld. So the Shuttleworth is going to be a real proper family business with George and Glenda. But I think I will still have Glenda working part-time at the Rovers, part-time at the Undertakers. Okay? So with the Rovers losing Daisy and part-time Glenda, Jenny desperately looks for another barmaid to take her place. Here's my character return for the year.
This is just the story of the whole thing. Are you going to let them do any work?
No, I'm telling them this is what they need to do now. Who's going to get turned back?
I'm excited about this because you told me there was going to be an unexpected return.
Tanya Pooley.
She
is back
this
year.
I love it.
Eva Pope, get back in there.
Yes.
So
the bitch is back.
That's exactly right. So the few people who are around on the street who remember her still accuse her of being a massive bitch. But she says, oh no, I've changed. And Jenny, of course, takes pity on her, because when Jenny came back to the street, people also thought she was a wrong. And she's like, no, I don't know Tanya from Acton. Come back. Go under my wing. Daisy ends up getting tired of working the charity shop. Jenny takes her back on at the Rovers, and then it is a proper battle of the bitches. Daisy versus Tanya Pooley, I think could be epic. I don't know much about how that's going to go. Obviously, this is all definitely going to happen.
They got to earn their money somehow.
I think that Daisy and Tanya could be beautiful, but Tanya's not going to stay. She's going to leave at the end of the year after trying to seduce Stephen while he's still,
Watch out, Tanya.
Being
Watch
landlord.
out, Stephen.
So Jenny's going to give her the old heave-ho. She's not going to get killed by Stephen, or does she? Maybe she could be like some mysterious, is she dead or not? I don't know. So Max, meanwhile, I know that he's not completely seen the light, but he will eventually, surely. I think Lauren's going to stay on the street as well as a girlfriend for him. She's going to have the classic Corrie D scalification, and she's going to be just a nice girl afterwards. She's going to see the error of her ways. She's come to realise that she was brainwashed all along. She's going to get a side job in the community centre or something. Also along that storyline, Darian reunion with his older brother. Gotta be a lock-in.
I didn't write that down, but
gotta be there.
It has to happen.
And maybe Max goes back to the Weathy High for his GCSEs for a bit when Darian goes off with his brother, and then Max doesn't have to go into the PRU anymore, the PRU. So I think after this, Max is maybe not as heavily featured as much in the year, and instead that wheel of Corrie teens is going to turn to Amy. So there's obviously warming up to something with her and Jacob and Damon at the moment, but she's going to get herself in proper bother, I think. Jacob is forced to do increasingly dodgy things at the bistro for his dad, and tragically killed. You might be happy with that one, Gemma. Jacob, dead this year by one of the gangsters that he's dealing with. So in his grief, Damon's grief, Amy's going to end up getting closer to him. Well, I think maybe she'll think he's grieving, but actually, he doesn't care about Jacob after all. He's just kind of mad that his inn at the bistro is now gone. So he's going to end up kind of luring her down into his dark, seedy world and everything. She's going to start to fall behind with her studies at the university. Eventually, he's going to be arrested after some kind of high-octane drama of sorts in Britain's Got Talent Week or something. And maybe as part of that, I'm going to put my bonus prediction as Damon tries to seduce Tracy as part of being involved in Amy.
Interesting.
Could happen. Will happen.
Tries to seduce. Okay.
So, Spider then,
Yeah.
He's going to stay on the street with Toya. He's going to leave his job in the police when Toya gets caught up with this big gangstery thing with Damon. Maybe that could be Spider's next secret mission. I don't know how that works. Everyone knows he's a cop, but never mind. So they're happily together.
Shh, don't tell
they're gonna get the Peking order we know that's closed down. So that's gonna be they're gonna reopen their old juice bar that they had down in London. So juice bar in the precinct. Good. Toya and Spider. I think Toya's though, she's going to be there at the corner of the precinct. Abby's going to be taking baby Alfie to the play park. Toya's going to be a little bit sad about it, maybe.
Out the window.
Yeah. But on the plus, bonus prediction, nobody mentions that Toya killed Imran and it's conveniently forgotten about.
Excellent.
So Abby, I think this year is going to be brought back to the forefront of the show because show bosses realise they need some more big drama. Nobody cries like Sally Carman. So the big drama for her this year is Alfie getting kidnapped from the park. Everyone thinks it's Toya.
No.
Everyone thinks that Toya's gone a bit baby crazy again.
I suspect
Especially when Toya leaves the street for a bit mysteriously.
Oh,
so there's going to be this long running "Where's Alfie" storyline for Abby.
No.
Lots of crying, lots of tears, lots
hand wringing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Rending of hair.
Yeah, and so that's obviously
clawing
sad.
at the face.
Yes.
Okay, just checking.
Obviously very sad for Kevin as well. So because I just want her involved, Debbie's going to be involved in that as well.
Yeah.
As a
it's
Webster.
Her nephew.
Sort of. I don't know. Anyway, obviously it's not Toya who's kidnapped Alfie. It's Esther. She's back. She's left Mike and she's snatching Alfie.
Yeah.
She gets arrested in the end of it.
Oh.
Yeah. So Toya, the reason for her mysterious disappearance is she's had to go into witness protection when the gangsters from earlier in the year return, and that's why nobody can find out, nobody can get a straight answer about where she's gone. She's had to go into hiding.
Oh, wow.
And when they're looking for Alfie, it's like, no, where is she? I don't know. But anyway.
And the policeman's like, I can't tell you. Are you winking? No, I've got something in my eye.
She comes back to the street after that when the gangsters Damon and Co are all arrested or killed or something. Can you see how a lot of my predictions aren't going to come true this year? But I had kind of fun with these.
We can never say.
So once Molly's back from Dancing on Ice, we'll have Nina and Asher featuring a bit more heavily in the year, I think. But I don't really know how.
Okay.
Asher's going to
some ideas.
Asher, I reckon, is going to do her paramedic training. Mm-hmm. Two of them move in together. I've not got any more than that, so I'll maybe leave it to you to see what's going to happen there. Secret Affair 4. And this is a shout out to us, Gemma and Michael. Because, Gemma sees more passion in Michael during the school protest than she ever does in Chesney about pretty much anything.
Yeah.
So she and he's a good sort and everything. So she's like, yeah, Gemma and Michael, secret affair, briefly. And it's just a little shout out to me and you.
Yeah.
And so Michael realises that, this isn't going to be good for the kids or anyone. So let's break it off. And Chesney and Gemma get married by the end of the year in a twin wedding with...
Oh, God.
Paul and Billy. So Gemma and Paul, the twins, twin wedding, Paul and Billy. Yeah?
All right.
That's going to happen, absolutely. And, bonus prediction,
so
in the wedding, Chesney is going to crack a smile even.
No.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
I know, that's the most outlandish prediction of all of them so far.
Well, you can write that down, and if that happens once next year, you get 10 points.
Drama at Chariot Square. After realising that nobody's seen him for months, Ryan is found dead in his hotel room. Oh. Debbie is distraught and goes to Ronnie for support. But then it turns away, Ronnie moved away ages ago and nobody noticed that either.
Including Debbie.
Yeah.
She's such a high-powered businesswoman, she doesn't notice her boyfriend.
Ryan's death also gives Alia something else to be miserable about because, she loves it. Also, temporarily, when Ryan dies, Michelle to come back to the street, cause a bit of tension between Steve and Tracy, but thankfully it's only a brief return to the cobbles because Kim Marsh did say, you haven't seen the last of me, this year could be it. They're kind of the end of my big predictions. I have kind of said this is more of just a wish. Please, 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 David does something worthwhile other than being a terrible parent to Max. Kirk continues to do nothing and manages to annoyingly avoid being bumped off by Stephen in all the factory drama. We're all going to hope, come on, Stephen, kill Kirk, but he's not going to do it.
We need to manifest what we...
I know.
It's the secret. We need to manifest it.
Rosie... we've had more rumblings in the press recently, especially with her splitting up from her partner. So Rosie returns this year. Maybe I'll renew that prediction from last year about her going into business with somebody, with Michael or whatever. Obviously, I won't renew the bit of the prediction where she fancies Imran because that would be a bit weird for this year. Sean splits up with Lawrence for reasons that we'll have probably forgotten about by the time we review these predictions in a year's time. And also we continue to wonder why they really brought Dylan back. And why not? Violet gets bumped off screen as well. And final prediction, Ian McLeod is still producer at the end of the year. And that is what is going to happen in 2023 Coronation Street. And I feel that this year, as much as I had fun with that, I wouldn't be surprised if none of that happens, apart from the things that have been very clearly telegraphed to be happening this year. But I still had kind of fun with that one. So now, Gemma, it's over to you. Prove me wrong. What do you think is going to happen in Coronation Street in 2023?
I think we've got a few overlaps.
Okay. Are you going to go with the overlaps first, or do you want to just run down them in the order that you've got them?
I'm just going to read out what I've got. So, I think people are going to leave this year.
Right. Who are we saying ta-ra to this year?
Ardy.
Oh no.
Yasmin.
Okay.
Stu.
Yeah.
Daisy.
What?
Ryan.
Snap.
And Gabrielle.
Okay.
And
are you explaining how?
Yeah, I'll get to it. The big issue storyline for the year will be pregnancy.
Okay.
Summer is a surrogate for Mike and Esther, but the more she interacts with them, the more she realises that they are not suitable for raising a child. So she decides to keep the baby for herself, strings them along until the baby is born, and then she won't let them see the baby.
Okay.
So Esther snatches the baby. So Esther's
the baby snatcher in both of our predictions. Okay.
She takes her home, and then she tries to set fire to herself and the baby.
Oh my gosh.
Mike, Summer and Aaron are all locked out watching this happening, and Mike is blaming Summer. Aaron climbs a drain pipe after Billy arrives.
This is a very in-depth prediction here.
You're also quite in-depth.
No, I know.
What did I get to?
Drain pipe.
Aaron climbs a drain pipe after Billy arrives and distracts everybody. He runs into the kitchen to stop her, but it doesn't work. It's Summer's heartfelt pleas that make Esther open the door. Summer snatches the baby back. Billy does a little prayer. She gets taken away, and Mike just screams, "Oh, you've ruined my life."
Okay.
Sarah and Adam remember they were going to have a baby.
Right.
They tried to have a baby, but they have fertility issues, and then they forget about it.
Okay, so you're renewing that one about their fertility issues.
Spider has a child.
What, he's got one right now?
He's already had a kid.
But he hasn't mentioned it.
How
has he kept that on quiet?
Too polite to bring it up. Toya ends up taking that child in.
Is it Elsie?
For a reason I get to later.
Oh, nice, okay.
Abby and Alfie reappear, and Toya also helps them out.
Okay.
She's got so many babies all over the place. Mary and Brian get married in a register office, and it's comedic because Brian locks himself in a cupboard or something. For a joke.
Okay. And then will he get to the church in time, or the register office in time?
We won't.
Probably.
Fine. Gemma decides not to get married to Chesney.
Oh.
Because of money, and she says, "Oh, it's just a piece of paper."
But oh no, so she's gonna have a change of heart.
Yeah, she's gonna be like, "Oh, I just wanted the wedding. I didn't want the marriage, but we already have that."
Okay.
Because we've never really had that perspective on Coronation Street.
No, we haven't.
So, and it's not an incorrect, it's a perfectly reasonable opinion to reach, and we've never had it represented. So let's have that.
So I'm predicting the twin wedding, Gemma and Paul marrying Chesney and Billy, and you're like, no wedding at all.
No wedding at all. Stu and Yasmin get married and bugger off. That's why they leave.
Okay. Happily ever after.
Happily ever after. Nina and Asher get engaged.
Mm-hmm.
They have lots of conversations about traditions and what they want to wear, and eventually they have a ceremony which has bits of both of their tradition, like
bit Hindu, bit goth.
Yeah, bit goth.
Yeah.
And it's very sweet and everyone loves it.
I think Nina's going to have to design the outfits for that one.
She's going to definitely wear some kind of weird Queen Victoria black morning gown. Eventually, Asher continues to be a paramedic, and then she has training, and then she has an experience that's very confronting to her, which is similar to the situation that she was in with Ardy and Dev in the car burning. Then she gets PTSD, but Nina helps her through it because she had anxiety.
Oh, so is it just... Oh, okay. So she has to rescue someone from a burning car. I thought you were going to say something like, Ardy and Dev will be in mortal peril again,
Could
and
happen.
who do I save first?
Could happen, couldn't it?
I could do. Maybe I'll add that into my predictions.
Dee Dee
Yes.
starts dating
Yes.
Craig.
Oh my goodness.
Why not? Makes about as much sense.
What about for Faye?
A few conflicts of interest because their jobs. She represents a resident that has done a crime.
Yeah.
But she also helps him to learn about racism.
Okay. Oh yeah, of course.
Because
he didn't quite get that from last year, no, or 2 years ago. I mean,
Daniel and Daisy's wedding.
Have we got anything for Faye, or is she just out of the picture?
Faye's gone. Forget it. I told you I didn't. I just went. This is me just writing down things as it occurred to me. I didn't look at a cast list or anything.
Forgive him for forgetting about
Sorry,
Faye.
I forgot about Faye. Daniel's mum, Denise, turns up for the wedding.
Return for Denise.
That's it. There's nothing
interesting
about. She just turns up. Daisy and Daniel have loads of arguments about social media and sponsorships of the wedding, and then Daisy's like, you know what? We should just have a register office do, because getting married to you is the most important thing. I don't care about all the accoutrements. But then Daisy's dad turns up.
Oh, Mr. Midgley, that's what I said as well.
Yeah, throws Jenny for a loop.
Would.
Let's find out what happens there. But first, Stephen kills Gabrielle.
See, she's got away with her life in my version of the events. I don't know whether I actually believe that, but it didn't fit the narrative that I was weaving.
Stephen kills Gabrielle when she confronts him, but he doesn't kill Elaine.
Right, so we've got opposites.
Jenny and Stephen start dating after Stephen gets jealous when Jenny's ex-husband turns up.
Right.
Jenny's
so
ex-husband...
we've both got Jenny and Stephen together, okay.
And we've both got Daisy's dad.
Yeah.
For some reason, Daisy's dad gives Jenny a load of money. Because that happens on Coronation Street all the time. So that's what makes Stephen more interested in her.
Okay.
Elaine, meanwhile, is asking questions about Stephen after Gabrielle spoke to her and changed her mind about the abuse. Because we know Elaine thought that he had been abused by Gabrielle. Yes. But now Gabrielle turns up and she's like, that's not what happened. And so Elaine's like, this is suspicious. Stephen manages to bump Gabrielle off by drugging her and driving her car into a lake.
Nice.
It's quite macabre, isn't it?
Yeah.
Stephen gets Elaine home alone at Tim's house.
Yeah.
And Jenny walks in on him about to kill Elaine.
Oh no.
It's a bit of a should have stayed at the party Maxine situation.
Not having Stephen kill Jenny, are you?
They have a tussle. Jenny gets knocked to the floor. He's about to kill her. But he looks at her beautiful face and he's like, can't do it. He goes on the run. Tim discovers him living on the waste ground where he's buried Leo.
Yeah.
And they have a confrontation, and then Stephen falls off or something and dies.
Oh, so both of us had Tim, and Tim's going to be the one to take down Stephen.
I really think so. I don't know why. It's funny, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, we haven't colluded, have we?
No, not at all.
Daisy's fan, this Mr. Nice Guy or whatever his name is.
Oh yeah, I forgot about him.
He keeps making funny comments that make it seem like he knows too much about what's going on, and it becomes obvious that he's stalking her, and it turns out to be that man.
Right. The one from the hospital.
Yeah. She puts on a fake wedding after her real wedding to get all the money between her and Daniel.
Right.
He crashes it, ruins it in a big stunt. I don't know what the stunt is. Mm-hmm. Something to do with a fountain. Daniel blames Daisy and says that you're so vacuous and shallow, and this is all your fault that you brought it on yourself, that you've got a stalker. And she leaves the show, but we know she's pregnant. So she might come back.
Yes. Okay.
Gemma becomes a childminder.
Yeah, it looks like it's going that way
already. And becomes
a
British Sign Language teacher. Someone gets a pet and they never mention it again.
Yeah.
Joanna Lumley comes back.
Oh my god. That's out there. Getting a bit of Elaine Perkins, alright.
George and Eileen get engaged, and they have the wedding, and Glenda's the best man, and she has a little hat.
Oh.
Lawrence eventually gets won over by Todd and kisses him back, and they have a little affair.
Wouldn't surprise me.
His dead wife's parents turn up, and I'm not sure if I missed something here, but they didn't know he was gay.
Oh,
they get mad about it.
Everything, do we?
They get mad about it. They cut off his inheritance, and he's living in his wife and his house, which belongs to them. They take it back, so he has to move in with Eileen and co. It gets very awkward because he's still having an affair with Todd at the same time as dating Sean. Meanwhile, Billy and Paul gets back together, which makes Todd even more jealous. Lawrence realises that Todd isn't into him as much as he thought he was, and then ruins George and Eileen's wedding, where Todd is the maid of honour, and Todd gets left embarrassed, and everyone's mad at him for ruining the day, and Eileen and George go off in a comedy strop because their bridal car is actually a horse-drawn hearse.
Nice.
Max and Lauren stay together and are racist for a bit. They hook up with the counsellor and they bring him to justice via a clever social media video.
Oh, yeah.
Because racism is wrong. However, Griff has been released from prison and he seeks revenge on Max.
Oh.
He kidnaps him and makes him do a racist live video from an abandoned house.
Nice.
It's just like Scooby-Doo. Spider is watching this live video and he recognises the abandoned house and goes to rescue him. Griff beats him to death.
What? Griff beats Spider to death?
Yeah.
Gemma, how could you?
It's not me. It's what happens. Not before Spider manages to stab him with a piece of metal. And then Griff is slowly dying, chasing Max through this abandoned house. And Max lures him up into the upper level, where Griff plunges through some floorboards and dies on the floor. And then Spider's like, dead. And Toya's like, hooray, free baby.
Oh, yeah, of course, because Spider has got this child, hasn't she?
She has sole custody of the spiderling.
Yeah.
And I looked up specifically what baby spider is, and it is a spiderling.
Okay, I thought it was, yeah. I don't know whether these are like more predictions or just a pitch for a job on the storyline to department and go. Yeah, I mean, either or, really.
Oh, do. I don't mind.
Right, next.
Roy finds Hayley's jacket in the Gregory Pope shop.
Yeah.
He nearly misses out on it because he was too busy looking at his phone, and he realises how addictive they are, but he also realises that he can't avoid having one, so he just gets a normal flip phone, which doesn't have any.
Right. Phone addiction story for Roy.
People eat ice cream in the precinct, but they always look cold. Peter eventually swaps his onion bhaji into a motorbike.
Yeah, I was going to say that and then I forgot to type it down, but yeah, I think we're going to see that happening.
Alina returns with the baby, which is called Tyrone.
Oh, yeah.
And Fizz leaves to be with her mum. Alina tells Tyrone she doesn't want anything from him, but she does want her son to know his father, and then she dies. And
oh dear, Alina,
Evelyn is just sarcastic and unhelpful. And this is my final prediction.
Okay.
The big stunt this year will be a fire at Underworld, started by Damon to get revenge on Jacob.
Nice.
Right? Jacob stands up to his dad and eventually gets him banged up, and Carla is so excited because now she's got Jacob back at Underworld and he's the only one who can sell pants. They work late at something in Underworld, and Damon sneaks in and sets a fire. The whole building's ablaze. Everyone's outside watching, just in the tradition of Coronation Street. Everyone's amazed. Amy realises that Jacob is inside and alerts Peter. Peter tries to go in and rescue her, but he's useless.
Does he drive in on his motorbike?
No, he's just being useless. Ardy goes in and tries to save them, and he dies.
Oh yeah, you did say that. I forgot about that.
Maybe this is when Asher does some kind of paramedic thing. The factory's ruined. They don't get any insurance money because Carla's done something with the paperwork that's wrong. So Debbie has to step in.
Oh, yeah.
And go into business with Carla, and it's hilarious and brilliant.
Oh, I can see that.
They stop making knickers because it's boring, and instead they make food because of Debbie's links to the hospitality business.
Nice.
And that is how we end Coronation Street in 2023 with Debbie and Carla's new festive cake line.
Well, I don't think that both of our ideas can happen at the same time, but if they want to pick one or the other or cherry pick bits of the other, if Coronation Street this year in 2023 isn't as good as either of those, then, well, they've only got themselves to blame, haven't they? Because we've told them now what they can do.
This took me an afternoon.
Yeah, it's quite in depth. I think we've done a good job there. But how well have our listeners done? Because we've been inundated with listener predictions as well. And there's actually some quite good ones here as well. I'm going to start off with Rebecca's because she has gone right. She has given us, I think she's got more predictions than we have. So I'm going to blast through these. So she started off with like births and deaths and everything. So birth, she's going to say to Summer. Summer's going to give birth to the surrogate baby, or is it? So is it Summer? Is it Aaron's? Also, Daisy's going to have a pregnancy scare, she reckons.
Oh, yeah.
Eileen and George get engaged. Nick and Leanne as well for the millionth time. Chesney and Gemma, she's saying getting married on the cheap. And Daisy and Daniel as well. So it's, leading towards there anyway. Hookups. Damon and Jenny will hook up. Oh, a bad lad for Jenny. But also, she says Jenny getting together with Stephen.
Two bad lads.
Eventually, Sean and Todd will get together. Another, you think you said that one, didn't you? But
no.
Not before. Oh, no, sorry. You said Todd and Lawrence.
No, Todd and Lawrence and Paul and Billy.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so Rebecca's also saying Todd and Lawrence. Brian and Mary, of course. Jacob and Summer will share a kiss when Summer is low on pregnancy hormones. I don't think that's completely out of the question, actually. I think that, they've given each other a bit of a look already. So Jacob and Summer, quite possible.
If this year's taught me anything, it's that anything can happen.
Breakups: Jacob and Amy, Carla and Peter, Toya and Spider when he leaves. Sad. Also Jenny and Stephen when the truth finally comes out, of course.
Just imagine Stephen being loaded into a police car by our Craigie, and then Jenny comes up and goes, "And you're dumped!"
And you're dumped as well. Jacob and Amy, Rebecca thinks will get back together though. Griff's going to go after he gets found out. And Spider, as she's already said. Faye, Rebecca says this year, shocking exit. She's going to say Abby.
Oh!
Rebecca says because Abby wasn't used much this year, she's going to go. I don't think that's how it works. I certainly hope not anyway. Stephen obviously as well, and Elaine will be Stephen's second victim, Rebecca says.
Elaine's got a card marked.
She really has. Returns, I think Rosie's going to return, Rebecca says. Also Alina, but only by name. Oh, she says Alina is...
the baby's going to make an appearance,
but not Alina. And Jason this year as well. And Curly and Alice. Also, there's the retro return, Curly and Alice.
That's Raquel's daughter, French daughter.
So, she's given us storylines for pretty much every house on the street. So, again, blasting through this. So, Rebecca says, Jenny's going to get together with Stephen. He's going to move into the Rovers. Teddy's going to have left by then. However, when Teddy's memory starts to return and remembers that Stephen reveals that he killed Leo, Stephen panics, confesses everything to Jenny, and also reveals that he killed Elaine as well. Jenny, thinking that he's also going to kill her too, manages to contact Daisy and Daniel. They contact the police. Stephen's arrested. By the end of the year, Jenny ends up with Uncle Ronnie, as I'm still convinced that's going to happen. Also, Jenny has a sneaky hookup with Damon too. Daisy's going to end up talking to the Instagram guy, like you said, Gemma. Daniel's going to get jealous. They'll break things off. Daisy is going to get captured by him and Daniel's going to rescue her, but she's still mad at him. However, by the end of the year, re-engaged and married. Over at number 1, Peter and Carla are going to break up because of the Peter bartering thing. I don't know how that's going to lead to a breakup, but we will see.
He's going to barter Carla into... He's going to barter Carla into a motorbike,
yeah. Amy and Jacob are going to break up when she finds out about him getting money off of Damon. Jacob and Summer then share a kiss, like we said earlier, but then Jacob regrets it, tells Amy about the kiss, and then they get back together again. Maybe he finds out also about Damon's dodgy dealings, and Damon leaves the street. Steve and Tracy do nothing apart from Tracy tutting over Steve being stupid, and maybe comforting Amy over her breakup. Next door at number 3, Michael's still involved in Sarah's fashion idea. However, it starts to flounder and Michael has to get Dee Dee included, who agrees to put money into the company, but she wants 50% share of it. Sarah's going to refuse and the two women fight, but Sarah relents, and by the end of the year, Sarah has set up the company, but it's all Michael and Dee Dee's work. Ed and Aggie have a quiet year, maybe something to do with Ronnie. Number 5, Chesney eventually agrees to marry Gemma, small wedding in July. Dev, however, at the reception proposes to Bernie, but she calls him an idiot, but he apologises, and the pair go back to normal. Also, Joseph starts at Weathy High. Number 7, Asher and Nina hit a bump when Asher starts uni and maybe gets friendly with another person, however they don't split up. Maybe a Christmas engagement too, but maybe that's more a 2024 thing. Ardy's quiet till he leaves school, then joins forces with Dev in the corner shop. Maybe a new girlfriend for Ardy.
Oh, you know what? Saying the word forces then made me think it would be quite interesting if Ardy joined the military.
Oh yeah, maybe. Number 9, Fizz and Tyrone won't break up when Jenny goes on a maternity leave, but Tyrone will find out about Alina's baby, and the baby will visit, but Alina won't. Fizz will flip at first, but then realises that Tyrone loves her now. Also, Hope will continue to be meddling and reveal the truth of John speaking to her via the tapes, but in the end, Fizz agrees to let her keep the last name state.
Aww.
Number 11, Eileen will return from Thailand, and I think Jason's going to make a Zoom call.
That'd be cool.
At Christmas, she's upset because she thinks that George will get a rubbish present,
yes!
But really, he's planning to propose, and he does over Christmas. That would be lovely.
I love that.
I do like that idea a lot.
Good job, Rebecca.
Todd continues to pursue Lawrence, and Lawrence gives in, and they sleep together.
We do not buy Lawrence's a lot. like.
I'd like to believe him. However, he tells Sean, and Sean breaks up with him.
Weeps.
By the end of the year, Todd and Sean are together.
Ooh, Todd and Sean.
13, Abby's going to get a story, but I can't decide on whether she adopts Jack and Kevin adopts Alfie, or maybe Sarah's going to come back, Imran and Rana's mum, and wanting to be a good grandma to Alfie. Oh, interesting. Number 4, Elaine's going to be killed. Sally and Tim are devastated. Rosie returns and is there to support Sally and Tim, but it's just a flying visit. Tim is then suspicious of Stephen. Oh, look at that. Another one. Stephen.
I think Stephen's got some like obvious victims, isn't he? Do you want me to take over?
No, I'll keep going with this. Okay. Number 6, Alia starts to suffer from PTSD after the bombing, and Stu helps her as he's also suffered from it when he was in the Navy. Ryan helps Alia get through things, and they get back together.
But he's dead now. Don't forget he's died.
Only in mine. Max gets some sort of punishment at number 4, but he doesn't go to young offenders. However, the street turns against him. Everyone except Spider. Max vows to change Griff. Vax vows to change. Griff goes on the run and ends up holding Max hostage at one of the houses on the precinct. Hey guys, like you said. The police arrive and arrest Griff. Spider then leaves the street as his work is now done.
If he doesn't say my work is now done, then I want my money
Nick
back.
reveals about the money he borrowed off Harvey and Damon, and Leanne isn't happy. They break up for a little while, but then reunite and then get engaged. As well as Sarah's company with Michael and Dee Dee, she starts to want another baby, but Adam isn't sure. Audrey finds out about Stephen stealing her money, and she and Sam also continue to bond. Right, see, this is, I told you, this is more detailed than our predictions. A few other kind of minor ones. Roy involved in an online scam with his phone. Brian and Mary getting together. Mary starting working at the cabin. Summer falling pregnant, but doesn't know who the dad is. We've talked about that bit already. Coronation of King Charles is referenced, and they give a toast to the late Queen. I was going to put about something about the coronation, and then I forgot. So well done, Rebecca, for remembering that one. And Rebecca also predicts the box sets coming back on ITVX maybe in July. And Ian McLeod will announce he's leaving. But he's going to be taking over producer Verity McLeod. Wife Verity. He's going to step up on there. Whoa. Rebecca, you put a lot of thought into that. Thank you very much. Nice ideas there. I haven't got time to even talk about them, but thank you for all of those. We have got lots of others, though, to come. Just little mini ones from our Facebook group. So let's take these ones in turn, Gemma.
Shannon says, when Full On Soap Crazy is revealed that New Summer has been an imposter and no one noticed because Billy and Co were so wrapped up in their own drama and probably never paid that much attention to her. Old Summer has been living with her rich grandmother the whole time and just needed a break. Upon realising this, she is disgusted by everyone and leaves again.
So actually, New Summer and Old Summer are different characters that's going to be revealed. That is full-on show craziness, Shannon. I like it.
Yeah.
Caitlin, so, returns for the year. Sophie, Alina and Baby. Sharon Bentley to be involved in the Jacob and Damon story. Exits, Elaine, Teddy, Gabrielle, all at the hands of Stephen. Mike and Esther, George to be busy. What does that say? Yeah, George. George is going to be busy with all the deaths, I think she's saying.
Yes.
New characters to move into the precinct, along with some existing ones. Maybe some local residents can buy into the businesses. It'd be nice to see Peter with his own shop, like he used to have at the bookies. Lily maybe that fits with his bartering, actually. Lily come back from a football trip with a new face.
Oh yeah.
Maybe. Okay. Could happen. Possible. Daisy and Daniel getting married, and then Chesney and Gemma sneak in afterwards and use the same ceremony to get married in the same episode. That's a great one. Damon to have an affair with Leanne or Cara. And a prediction for the year 2053, Steve's scaffolding to come down.
I mean, calm down, Caitlin. You're talking about pretty soon. Lee says Stephen's going to kill Teddy, Gabrielle, and someone we actually like before getting caught in October.
I see, I said October as well.
For my birthday, thank you. Damon and Leanne will have a destructive affair. I don't know whether that means emotionally or like just knocking plants off of tables with their lovemaking. Asha and Nina will break up, and no major stories for the Baileys.
Shocking. Okay, Lisa next. And Daniel and Daisy will not get married. Toya and Spider will.
Oh, I like it.
I don't think that marriage is really...
I think Spider's like, I don't see why we should get married because the universe knows our souls are one.
He did marry that other girl. He married his other thingy, didn't they? Whatever her name was.
What's his excuse then? Come on.
Right, Fizz and Tyrone have a baby, and Alina shows up with Tyrone's other baby at the same time. Mike and Esther turn out to be human traffickers.
Oh, God.
Oh, and Summer's life is in danger from them, and her diabetes, of course. Damon has an affair with Amy or Carla, or both.
Why not?
Roy becomes a cell phone addict. That'd be hilarious. I kind of want that to happen.
Pat says Mary finally has a chance to wield her wedding ideas notebook as she plans her wedding to Brian. Yes, Pat.
Helen says, I also see happiness for Mary with Brian. The two of them are meant for each other as they are both quirky.
That's like me and you.
It's so quirky.
Joe says Stephen continues his killing ways by offing Elaine and Gabrielle, and no one cares. He then takes out Gemma and Summer, and everyone throws him a party.
Oh, come on. Harsh.
True.
Charlotte, I hope we also get a wholesome gay relationship or marriage storyline, and preferably not just with two young females, which is usually the case. Compared to other soaps, I think the way Corrie handles and represents the LGBTQ plus community is diabolical.
Well, that's strong.
Harsh words from Charlotte there. Well,
Very
maybe
strong.
2023 will be the year that Corrie can turn it around.
Can't say that I know what in comparison.
No, I can't compare.
It'd be interesting
I'll take your word for it, Charlotte.
Jared says the show finally gets a proper opening title sequence that is actually representative of the street and not just god-awful blurry mess.
That title sequence has been there for 12 years now.
I remember when it came in. Although, Jared, right, okay, you say proper opening title sequence. I hope you don't mean like, you know, the cheesy people folding their arms and looking at the camera.
Need to go something a little bit more classic.
I would absolutely love. Can I just say, if anyone is listening from Coronation Street, I know you guys like to do your April Fool's Day.
Oh yeah, you can do it for that.
If you do have a plan for a new opening sequence ever, it would be really funny to prequel it with this cheesy
Neighbours style.
It would be delicious.
I love
please,
that.
Please,
I love
please.
that for an April Fool.
Yes.
Okay, carry on. What else does Jared
Jason,
say?
Bethany, Jade and Henry Newton return. Liz
and
comes
he's
back.
quite busy on stage in the Mousetrap in London until for the first half of the year at least.
Well,
you know, you've
got to book ahead. Liz comes back for a proper farewell. Summer... Jared, what you want? Summer becomes the nation's favourite character and a statue of her is erected where the scaffolding used to be. I'm going to have one crazy one.
That's hilarious. Fiona says Elaine and Gabrielle will be killed by Stephen. Tell you what, things are not looking good for these, are they?
No.
Teddy hasn't forgotten anything. He's playing the long game to catch Stephen out.
Oh, I love it.
Interesting. Stephen will not try and kill Teddy because he doesn't perceive him as a threat. Max will win the Weatherfield Golden Heart Award after all his great charity work to redeem himself after his brief foray into extremism. Hope will start scheming to achieve world domination, and Glenda and Dee Dee will become the street's first lesbian power couple.
Go for it, girls.
I think Glenda has proven that she's not on that boat.
I think Glenda's proven she's a very open-minded lass.
Do you reckon? Okay.
Laura says, my predictions, Toya and Spider will magically get pregnant, Brian and Mary will start dating, and the scaffolding will still be up in July.
Jack, this is so much. I love that all these predictions have been posted. I haven't even got all of them.
Can I just say,
I put them all in.
This to me, it just shows how chaotic it must be to try to plan Coronation Street.
I know, just imagine if all of our Facebook group were sitting around that big table
in the writers' room, and we're all going, I think that Dee Dee should be a lesbian with Glenda. Yeah, well, Glenda's going to get married to Ryan, who then dies in a fire.
This is why it doesn't work that way. Jack says, right, Damon and Glenda should get together. She'd make a great gangster's mole. I think she actually would.
She would actually.
And that'll give us some serious scenes where she learns the truth about his dodgy dealings, but she'll stick by her man. Very Nancy in Oliver.
Yeah.
Bringing in Jacob's older sister. Elaine's days are numbered. And I'd like Ryan and Michael to work together. See, I've said that as well in the past. Both hopeless dreamers and would give them more purpose.
Oh, yeah, I
think
that.
They could run a trendy estate agency from the office under the lawyers.
Oh,
It'd give them something to do. I think they could as well.
Oh my God,
that's
fun. Amazing. I'm sorry, but yes, somebody definitely, if not Ryan and Michael, I love the idea of having an estate agent.
Yeah, well, they always used to, didn't they? Because Deirdre worked at Sunliners. That was Alex's shop on Rosamond Street.
I thought that was a...
Oh, no, that was a travel agent, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I knew it was some kind of agent. Thank you for correcting me there.
An estate agent would be great.
I have been known to say the wrong thing on the podcast.
I can definitely see Ryan... I can definitely see Ryan and Michael like with a wide boy kind of, you know, suited and booted, trying to give it all that BS and gab.
Yeah, nice.
Yes, brilliant.
Travel agent, idiot. Carry on.
Is it me?
It's you. You're still you. You're still talking.
Sarah's business plans fail at every turn, and she could end up a bored housewife or doing jobs she considers beneath her to make ends meet, like working on the precinct.
Oh, maybe.
Sean marries Lawrence and moves out of Eileen's, at least to start a new life with Dylan. To start a new life with Dylan, making them a happy family unit. Dad rents his house out to students because Manchester University has opened a Weatherfield campus. He moves into Victoria Court with Bernie and forces Ardy and Ash to spread their wings a bit, and Summer joins the space programme and goes to the moon.
I think out of all our silly predictions from our Facebook listeners, most of them are revolving around Summer here. I think that says a lot, doesn't it?
Everyone's like, can Summer just go?
Speaking of which, my final one, I just had to include this, and I'm really sorry if I've not included yours, but I needed to put Navdeep's in at the end there. So, old Summer comes back, starts a rivalry with new Summer for the love of their three dads. It splits the family as Billy opts for old Summer and Paul chooses new Summer. A sad Todd goes into a time machine and brings back future Summer. He's able to lord it over Billy and Paul as his Summer has done a PhD in mathematics at Oxford.
And it's played by Olivia Colman.
So there we go. Love those predictions.
Good job, everybody.
Surely some of that has got to come true.
Nice
I just hope
team.
some of it is some of the outlandish stuff, because that just sounds kind of funny. So we'll come back in a year and see whether we're right. We never go back because we just wouldn't have the time for it to see whether our listeners were right or not. So if you're one of the people,
you've got to keep tabs on yourself. I'm afraid
that come back in a year and crow and bray at us and tell us, I told you that would happen if any of your storylines come true. But you know, I'm banking on that future Summer storyline, because that's just crazy.
I'm kind of hoping that something will happen with the availability of deepfakes, where we can actually make our own Coronation Street joke version, and we could do.
Why not? We got plenty of time for that. No problem. Right.
Good job, guys.
Good job,
I love
everybody.
it.
Everybody listening, if you've not had a prediction read out on the show, do feel free to add it to the thread on our Facebook group, or if you're listening to this on YouTube, pop it in the comments. What is going to happen in Coronation Street in 23?
What the hell is going to happen?
Let us know. Don't you give us any spoilers, please. If you've read something that's going to happen, don't hide that, and don't say, I've just thought of this. No, I want an actual, true, honest prediction based on nothing about what you think the next 12 months has in store for Coronation Street. I love reading all that kind of stuff. But that...
And just remember that, being outlandish might sound, like a waste of time, but nobody could have predicted that Stephen would come back as a murderer at the beginning of last year.
No, so throw Leo in the bin.
Spread your wings.
That's very, very true, actually. Nobody would have predicted that, so you never know. You can never be too silly for Coronation Street. Right, I think we are done for the evening. Thank you very much, everybody.
I'm so excited about what's going to happen this year now. If any of these things happen.
It's going to be so disappointing.
I know, but some of these things were brilliant.